Well, good afternoon. I am here with the lovely and talented Al Warner, founder and CEO of Cannabis Basics. Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday, Dave. I'm happy to be with you.
Me too. So much to talk about. Let's start with 25 years in hemp. You're celebrating an anniversary. Tell me about your history.
Ooh, well, that would be a whole session all on its own. But yeah, it's been a crazy 25 years. We're really proud that we have been able to, just all the changes. The word that I most relate with in this journey is tenacity. I mean, I am tenacious, and without that, I wouldn't still be around. I started back in 1994 when people thought hemp was marijuana. I mean, some people, I guess they still do, but I was full in. I walked into the Fremont Hemp Company, and before that, I had just been, weed smoker. I was a consumer, and it blew my mind when I walked into this hemp store because I knew about marijuana, but I had no idea what industrial hemp entailed. And then of course, the most compelling thing in that store was Jack's book, The Emperor Wears No Clothes, Jack Herer's book, The Emperor Wears No Clothes. And, that book is the Bible of the modern cannabis hemp movement, and it's fascinating and a great read for everyone. I totally recommend that. And then, it's been a long journey. We did just hemp back in the day, and then we were medical marijuana 7-8 years ago. And then when medical marijuana was moving to recreational marijuana, there was no place for me to move into the regulated world. And so now I am, for lack of a better term, mainstream with my hemp products, Hemp Basics, all over the country. And then Cannabis Basics, which has a little bit of marijuana in it, THC in it, that is sold in regular grocery stores here in Washington State. So it's been a long, winding road, but we're still here.
Yeah, you're playing both in hemp and cannabis. You mentioned the groundbreaking CHABA legislation that you and Jeannie Colwell's did back in, I think, 2015, if I can remember. Tell me what's changed as a result of that in the last 5 years.
Yeah, it's been 5 years. We celebrated 5 years. And I want to give Carrie Boyder props on that too. She was the co-author with me for the CHABA legislation. And, wouldn't have happened without Senator, now King County Councilwoman Colwell's. What has changed for me, well, a couple of profound things. So the law that is 5 years old now still only exists here in Washington State. No other state has replicated this. No other state has said, okay, it can have a little bit of marijuana in it, and as long as it's not intoxicating and it's a topical, it can be sold in grocery stores. That's what we did here, and 5 years later, no other state still has this. So, Washington State messed up marijuana legalization in many different ways, but we've got everyone on this one tiny little thing called Cannabis Health and Beauty Aids, or CHABA. And so for me, what that means is that I have two lines. I have one that's hemp seed oil and CBD called Hemp Basics that I sell all over the country. And then my CHABA line, Cannabis Basics, that has the marijuana in it, is sold in grocery stores. So, I mean, literally, people don't have to go to pot shops to get full spectrum cannabis topical products. They can go into, PCC or your local apothecary like Sugar Pill and pick up these products. And that has changed a lot for people. The older generation, they don't want to go into a pot shop for a topical. Some of them do. Some of them are happy to, smoke and do topicals and whatever. But generationally, I think that we've tapped into something by mainstreaming it that really makes it far more accessible to everyone. And on top of it, it only gets the regular sales tax. They're not being taxed this outrageous tax that topicals are accrue in the regulated, heavily regulated system here in Washington State.
And that's huge.
Access is the main key.
Yeah, that's huge for sure. Talking about mainstreaming, you've just introduced this Masked Hero line, which both addresses the COVID-19 pandemic and also the challenges of a world in which we're all wearing masks. So tell me about hemp and COVID, and how did you come up with this product line?
Well, let's be really clear, because, you know, I don't want to get in trouble with the FDA. This has nothing to do with COVID itself. So we're not treating or, you know, COVID itself. What we're doing, it's a, and this is the Masked Hero behind me. It's a three-part system that's a cleanser, toner, moisturizer. And so what's happened, this is the first time that Americans have really consistently worn masks. And many of the masks that we're wearing are made from synthetic fabrics or have synthetic dyes in them that are just creating havoc on our face. And, you know, just having your own breath in and out of the mask, you know, creates steam, and, you know, it just really creates an environment where, you know, pimples arise and dryness from irritation from the mask. I mean, it's just a whole list of issues that people are having from consistently wearing masks. And you know, even to where it's a new phenomenon called maskne. And I didn't even know about this. I knew about the issue before I knew that they had already coined a term for it, maskne. So I was like, I can do something about this. Finally, you know, I mean, the first few months of this lockdown was really rough. You know, COVID sales for my business were down 50%. Well, 50%, because most of my buyers are massage therapists, and, you know, and so they're not able to do the hands-on practicing and blah, blah, blah. But, you know, where we are now is that I feel like I have come up with something that can give some comfort and some relief to these frontline mask wearers, these masked heroes, to help them take care of their skin while they're taking care of everybody else. And I would submit that I think that everyone at this point that consistently wears a mask is a hero. You know, it's not just the doctors, it's the grocery store clerk, it's your neighbor that wears it consistently. I feel like we all have to do our part. And if you are doing that, then in my mind, you're a hero. So it was, I'm really proud of this new product because
So tell
I
us
feel
what's
like it's my way to do my part.
what's exactly in the
What's that?
what's exactly in the kit? Take us through the elements of the kit.
Yeah. Okay, so the first step is the cleanser. And this is you know, and there's a progression of cannabis and hemp in the line. So of course we have the Hemp Basics line, we have the Cannabis Basics line. The only main difference is that the Cannabis Basics line has THC in it. Okay, so they're identical except for that one thing. So the cleanser is the same in both, and it is a Castile soap, so olive oil based, and it has hemp seed oil in it. So it's great for people with sensitive skin. It's great for baby skin. It's great for people who have, you know, bed sores. I mean, like really harsh skin issues. So it's clean, and then it has little hemp seed oil that leaves a little moisturizer, right? So the cleanest, the most pure cleanser that you could use on your face. And then step 2 is the toner. And so this basically what it does is, and this was a new exciting process for me, because now I'm making, because I developed this product, and I've been working on a toner for years, but I really had never made my own hydrosol. And so super exciting, new process for me. So basically hydrosol is a water distillation process that, you know, when you're making lavender, you do water distillation, and then that you concentrate the essential oils to get your lavender oil. Same thing with cannabis, for cannabis essential oil. Well, what's left over from that process is the water bath. And these hydrosols, like, you know, lavender hydrosol, sweet orange hydrosol, aloe is a fine, it can be a hydrosol. They're really great for tightening and balancing and toning your skin. So that's number 2. And then also the great thing about this toner is that you can use it to spray inside your mask to refresh your mask. Because we all know that if you're consistently wearing a mask, they get funky, and you should regularly be washing your mask. And this doesn't sanitize your mask. It just makes it so that it's a far nicer experience for the masked hero themselves, for the people consistently wearing a mask. And then thirdly, we have the moisturizer. And okay, so lavender and oats, and then neroli, which is a orange blossom, and cannabis hydrosol. Those are the main 2 ingredients. And then this one is, you know, and these also have CBD as well, because of course it's hemp derived as well. This one is lavender and sweet orange, and it has some lemon. It also has tea tree. And so what this is going to do is moisturize, feed, hydrate, and then protect your skin. And then the tea tree, cannabis also is antibacterial, so, and cell regenerative, and it's got a lot of beautiful things. You know, I can't really say a whole lot, like can't make any claims about this product, but we can talk about what cannabis does. And, you know, it is cell regenerating and antibacterial. And so those, all the things combined in this moisturizer is going to help keep the havoc at bay. Like it really does help keep the bacteria away and help you stay moisturized. And so this is, you know, and you literally use a teeny tiny little pea size. It's just for your face. And so, and definitely, obviously, facial quality. So it's not going to break you out. It's going to help you with all of that from wearing a mask. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell.
So where do I buy, where can I get my Masked Hero Rescue system?
Well, you know, it's, again, complicated because there's nothing in my cannabis journey that hasn't been. So the Hemp Basics version is, I'm proud to say, is now available on Amazon. It's taken us years to get products on Amazon. And so now our Hemp Basics line, thank you so much. Our Hemp Basics line of, so most of our Hemp Basics is hemp seed oil, which is amazing for your skin, but it also has whole plant hemp extract. So the main cannabinoid that everybody talks about is CBD, but because we're doing whole plant, it's got all the cannabinoids and terpenoids from hemp. And so that's sold on Amazon, but we also have a new, launching in like a week. We have a new website called Oz Cannabis Couch, and that's the logo for that. It's an online retail store that will be selling Hemp Basics along with a lot of other stuff. So you'll be able to get it there as well. Now, Cannabis Basics, and you can go to cannabisbasics.com, my website, and get in touch with me, whether you want to order Hemp Basics or Cannabis Basics. But for Cannabis Basics right now, the best way is to call the number on our website, cannabisbasics.com, for Washington residents. So let's be clear, because this has THC in it, I cannot ship the Cannabis Basics Masked Hero out of the state. It stays here under the Chava law.
Fantastic. Let's switch gears a little bit. 4 years ago this week, I was at a party at your house, right? We were waiting for the election results. 2016 was a huge year for cannabis, and it was also supposed to be a huge year for women in politics. And so we had a big party. Cannabis won, Clinton lost. We had mixed emotions. 4 years later, we're coming up to another election. Wow, it's 4 years. I have to talk to you. What's been going on 4 years politically, and with your Women of Weed and your politically active Woman of Normal and all of those things?
Well, Women of Weed's a totally separate issue because it is by design not political and not an activist group. So, but let's talk about Normal Women of Washington for a second, and I'll give a shout out to Danica, the executive director. It's been crazy tough 4 years. I am not going to get emotional, but it's right there. But what we have done is we have just tried to stay on task with cannabis. We have, to hear Kamala Harris come out and say, in her debate that they were going to decrim, across the board, like that was huge because Kamala hasn't always been the best proponent of marijuana. Let's be real about this. So that was really making me nervous about the pick for her. But once she said that, this is one of her points, I'm like, we're all in now. But outside of that, as far as activism is concerned, Normal Women of Washington, what we've done is every month, once a month for the last 3 months, is we've done a voter registration drive. And so there you go with the little register to vote with the little pot leaf in the middle. And we coupled up with some of the marijuana stores. And so we were all masked up, out there in our red, white, and blue regalia trying to get people to vote. And the last one we did was, I think, last Saturday, and some of us had already voted. So I was able to print out stickers that said, I voted. So people, if they said they voted already, I was able to give them a sticker like old school, when we kind of want a reward for voting. So being able to give out those stickers was great. But I have to say, in this moment, I'm more optimistic now than I've been in 4 years. I'm super cautiously optimistic. That party was, I'll never forget making fondue and not being able to turn around and even talk to anybody because I just could not believe what was happening. And none of us knew how bad it was really going to be. And so I have hope for the future, and I'm ready to heal the wounds of the last 4 years. I'm hoping that everyone will accept the results of this election and move on from here. So I think the country has a lot of healing to do. I'm excited for women coming into their power. On a lot of levels. I'm a woman-owned, queer-owned, veteran-owned business. And so for me, acceptance is key, and I think that's what I want to say about that.
Fantastic. So you're cautiously optimistic. When I mentioned COVID, talk to me about being an entrepreneur during the COVID times. You are privileged to sell through mass retail, which has stayed open, but consumers have been hard hit. Boutique retail has been challenged. The whole spa, massage, therapist industry has been disrupted. How have you circumnavigated the waters?
Well, pivot. I'm a small operation. I'm still handcrafted small batch. So, I don't have a large team to begin with. I did have to get creative. There were several months that I didn't meet at all with anyone. And then I, created an outside office. And so now we have an outside office to be able to meet face to face. It's distance, it's outside. I put up walls for a windbreak. I've got heaters out there. So that was one of the things. And then just being able to figure out, what can I do? What can I do to make this moment easier? And that's how The Masked Hero came out. But,
Right.
I'm not gonna lie, it has been intense. And one of the things for me is that I've always considered myself, I did a little tiny bit of retail back in the early 90s with Cannabis Creations Body. But I really consider myself a wholesale manufacturer, and that had to change with COVID. Now it's like I'm opening an online retail store. I'm developing a YouTube channel that will drive traffic to the online retail store. I'm selling directly to the public, and there's pros and cons to that. But when I hear business people talking about this move Like everyone is moving to have a more direct connection to the consumer. And so I have to do that as well. And so I'm doing my damnedest to make that happen.
And that's part of your, that's part
so
of Oz Couch. That's part of your new website as well.
Oz Cannabis Couch.
Oz Cannabis Couch.
Yeah. So it's I'll show you the logo again. So Oz Cannabis Couch is an online retail store that will be open in a couple of weeks. And so it will be on Shopify. So it's an online retail store. You'll be able to get all hemp basics. You'll be able to get my jewelry line. These are live hemp seeds. You'll be able to get, mugs, anything, and, many other things. I didn't call it Cannabis Basics or Hemp Basics because I wanted to be able to carry whatever I wanted on there. So it will be a store with many different offerings. But the podcast, or not the podcast, forgive me, the YouTube channel, I'm super excited about because it comes together, it brings several of my passions together. I've been thinking about this program, and I may have talked to you about it before. It's called Hemp Heroes, is what it was called back in the day. And so what I think is lacking in the industry now let's put activism away for just a second. I think what's happening in the industry is everything's forward. Everything is new, big money's coming in, little guys are getting stomped out. This is just what happens in business in general. And I think it happens more with cannabis entrepreneurs because they're horribly funded. They have been fighting the legalities of this for all these years. So Hemp Heroes was a concept that I came up with several years ago. And I'm going to be able to incorporate that into the YouTube channel. So basically what it is it's about a 10-minute format. And for one, I talk about my cannabis and hemp heroes. So people like Anita Roddick, the owner of The Body Shop, Chris Conrad, Mickey Norris, Jack Harrer. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. So I'm actually going to be able to feature one of them each episode. So that's super exciting. And then the other kind of cool thing that I've been doing is I consider myself an archivist. So I've been collecting cannabis and hemp memorabilia for 25 years. One of the things that Morgan, my assistant, and I did in COVID was to get all of these items logged. All my library of books, my collection of 300 t-shirts, my, just so many things, my funky, kinky boots, we've got so many awesome items that I want to share with the world. And then the last part of the YouTube channel will be a nugget of knowledge, a nug, if you will, a golden nug of knowledge. And so that being the format, those three things, I want to educate, the younger generation, but also some of us that even, not everybody knows the history. Not everybody was involved as, our tighter circle. And so there are so many pioneers and heroes and just tenacious women and men of this movement that need a little props. You know what I mean? So I am here to give those people those props and to tell the world about them. So excited to be able to have the opportunity to share my heroes with everybody else.
And share some
and then
good,
of course drive traffic. I'm sorry?
No, I was going to say, and share some good news
in
what are kind of dismal times.
Share some good news, educate, share some great facts, share some cool, treasures. I have this, what usually sits here on the set is a golden treasure chest. And so, I get to pull all these items out of the cannabis treasure chest. I'm super excited about it. I have to say the thing that's held me back for this long is that I do have a fear of the camera. I really do. And so now I'm just working through my fears through COVID. I'm taking this time to get through it. I also just immersed myself on how to edit film and bring in sound, and so I took a deep dive in how to edit video, and so I've really been preparing myself. I mean, the first 3 episodes are written, and so it's just about filming them now and getting them in the can, and getting them out there. So pretty excited.
Congratulations, and thank you for sharing that news with us. I look forward to seeing all of the exciting content and interviews. And I love your museum. I've always thought it should be a museum. So now it'll be a digital virtual museum.
I have to say, so the word museum is I think that's a little going too far. Don Wertschafter, who owns,
that's right,
he owns the biggest cannabis and hemp collection of anybody that I know of. And even he said one time I said something about his museum, and he does have the Cannabis Museum. So
I've seen it. Yeah.
People should check that out online. But he once said to me, he said, a collection of cannabis stuff does not make a museum. And I said, no, I know you're right, but you have a museum. I think it's even taken him a long time to do that. He legit.
That's okay. I
have an archive.
You have an archive. It's, it's not quite as stuffy as your museum, and it's interactive, but I'm super.
No, I legit have an archive. I mean, not only do I have like, cold stuff, but I've been a judge at many a contest. I've got lots of entries. I've got samples of stuff that I never opened. I mean, I've got lots of cool stuff. I've got probably 15 huge bins of cannabis archives, and so I'm just so excited to be able to share that with the world.
I love it. All right, so we are at the 33-minute mark. I'll give you the last opportunity. What have we not talked about that you want to share?
I just want to turn this on for 1 second. Yeah, I feel like we
had a good
time.
I
mean, I guess going back to the 20. Oh yeah, there is something that I want to share, and it's not necessarily. I want to encourage people. So I like to say 25 years ago, I had 5 competitors, right? Dr. Bronner's wasn't even using hemp until 1999. We started in 1994, okay? So there were very few of us back then that were doing hemp body care. And then 5 years ago, 7 years ago, I had 20 competitors. There was Vita Verde, there was Kush Creams, there was, the guy in Colorado, he's amazing. God, there was Mary's Medicinals. There were 20 of us, okay? Now, because CBD has gotten so popular, and all props to that single cannabinoid, okay? It is amazing. But the fact of the matter is, they're saying there's like 120 cannabinoids in the cannabis plant. And we're focusing on one, okay? And so many of the products that are out there are using isolate, which I would argue is not the best therapeutics. And so I just want consumers, and so now I have 2,000 competitors.
At least.
And, I'd like to think that everybody has the best intention, but I know that that's not true. I think is a market where people they want to make a quick buck. This is the trend. And so I just really, really want to, guide consumers to make sure that the products that they're consuming in their body, like we don't do anything that's ingestible. We're only topicals, and that was by design. But whether you're looking for an ingestible or topical, I really want people to encourage them to look at the extraction method. I want them to look at the other ingredients that are in the formula, because you might have good quality hemp extraction, but then they've got a bunch of junk in there that's going to be counterproductive and really bad for your skin and for your body. And just make sure that you're not getting ripped off. I feel like, and I just put this out there because I'm not hiding from anybody. When I started using hemp-derived CBD, it was coming from out of the country. This was 7 years ago, before mostly nobody was talking about it yet. It was about 22 cents a milligram, right? There's no manufacturer that's making CBD products, if they're doing it on any scale, that's paying more than a penny a milligram. And many of them are paying way less than that. So I just really don't want people that need these products for a better quality life, I don't want them to get ripped off. So please know that, just be cautious. Items, they're not necessarily the best products. Be conscious of whole plant versus isolate. Be conscious of the other ingredients. And so that's kind of my guide to consumers. I really, really want the quality products to be the products that win in the end. And bringing it back to the whole COVID thing, like for me, kind of the only positive thing about COVID and business is that it really is weeding out a lot of the people that are just in it for the quick deal. You know what I mean? You're going to have a quality product, be really consistent, and have a good following to survive what's happening right now. So the best to all of you that are making quality products. I think that there's room for everyone if you are doing it with integrity and ethics. And so I really appreciate everyone that works in that vein. And I really, want consumers to be very careful about what they're using and what they're spending their hard-earned money on these days. So that's my big leap. Sorry, not so positive.
No, I love it. That is positive, actually. And we appreciate you, and we appreciate what you've done with Cannabis Basics and Hemp Basics and your 25 years of activism, of being on the right side of history, of moving hemp from the sidelines into the mainstream. So thank you so much for what you do. I'm loving the new line, and I can't.
Can I say one more thing?
Yes.
I just want to say one more thing. So 5 years from now, I just want to look into the future. And what I really want to see, what I'm looking forward to as an individual entrepreneur that's been doing this for 25 years, I'm looking forward to the day that it's all cannabis basics, that we don't have to split hairs and split cannabinoids. And you know what I mean? There is no reason why a non-intoxicating topical that has marijuana in it should be illegal anywhere. And
Amen.
So I do think that that's the future, and I cannot wait until it's just all cannabis basics, because cannabis basics really says hemp and marijuana together working in synergy.
We're not going to split hairs, and we're not going to split cannabinoids, ladies and gentlemen. You heard it from All Water. God bless you for all you do. Thank you for this Sunday conversation. And we look forward to 2021.
Thanks, Dave. I'll be here. I can't wait to see what's happening with everybody else. I just love watching, everyone just grow and continue to pivot in this crazy journey. So thank you for, covering, what's happening out there. I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Cheers.